Welcome to Monk's Temple. Settle in, wherever you are. Let the day's sharp edges soften. Feel the weight of your body being held by a chair, a bed, the floor. There's nowhere you need to be in this moment, nothing you need to do. You can simply listen. Let your eyes close gently, or let your gaze rest softly on something still. For the next while, we are going on a journey into the heart of a very simple, very radical idea. That peace is not the absence of chaos, but a different way of standing within it. That your greatest freedom lies not in controlling the storm, but in discovering the stillness at its center. Let's begin with a memory, not from a sacred text, but from a sidewalk. A rainy Tuesday afternoon in Portland, Oregon. A woman named Anya was rushing to pick up her son from daycare. She was late. The rain was that persistent, cold drizzle that soaks you through. Her mind was a frantic list. The report due at work, the empty fridge, the strange noise her car was making. As she power walked, her heel caught a crack in the pavement. Her ankle twisted. She didn't fall, but a jolt of pain shot up her leg. She had to stop. Leaning against a damp brick wall, clutching her ankle, she felt the heat of frustration rise in her throat. This shouldn't be happening. Not now. I don't have time for this. The thoughts were automatic, a furious protest against the reality of the wet pavement, the cracked concrete, her own turning ankle. But as she stood there, forced into stillness, something shifted. The protest ran out of steam. She noticed her breath, coming in short, sharp gasps. She made a choice, there on that wet sidewalk. She stopped arguing with the moment. She thought, okay. This is what's happening. I am here. My ankle hurts. I am late. It is raining. Just facts, stripped of the story of injustice. She looked up. Through the drizzle, she saw the neon sign of a cafe across the street, glowing warmly. She saw a person inside, reading a book, steam curling from a mug. The world hadn't stopped because she had. It was just, continuing. Her frustration began to melt, not into happiness, but into a weary, honest acceptance. She was just a person, on a street, in the rain, with a sore ankle. The suffering wasn't in the pain or the lateness. It had been in the tantrum she was throwing against it all. When the tantrum stopped, what remained was a simple, manageable situation. She limped to the cafe, called the daycare, bought a tea, and waited for the pain to subside. The evening unfolded differently than planned, but it wasn't ruined. It was just different. That shift on a rainy sidewalk, from fighting reality to meeting it, is the quietest superpower we possess. It doesn't change the weather. It changes your internal climate. And it's available to you, right now, in whatever form your twisted ankle takes. If this way of navigating life's stumbles speaks to you, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. Think of it as a gentle hand on your shoulder, a reminder to return to this place of pause when the world feels like it's spinning too fast. Now, let's travel far from that rainy street, to a place where the scale of what we cannot control is written across the sky itself. Picture the vast, golden Serengeti. The air shimmers with heat. A Maasai guide named Lemaian watches the horizon. For weeks, the rains have held back. The land is thirsty, the animals restless. His community's cattle grow thin. There is a ceremony, a dance, and a prayer for rain. They perform it with hope, but without demand. Afterwards, an anthropologist visiting the camp asks Lemaian, "What if the rain doesn't come?" Lemaian looks at the cloudless sky, then back at the man. "We have asked. We have done our dance. The sky will do what the sky will do. Our job is to tend to the cattle we have, to share the water that remains, and to keep our hearts ready for whichever sky comes tomorrow." He does not say it with resignation, but with a profound dignity. He has separated his actions, the prayer, the care, from his attachment to a specific outcome, rain by Tuesday. His peace is not contingent on the clouds. It is found in the integrity of his response to the dry earth. He accepts the reality of the drought. From that solid ground of acceptance, his actions, tending, sharing, preparing, are clear, unhurried, and free from the poison of desperation. This is our first cornerstone. Acceptance is not giving up, it is showing up for what is actually true. It is the end of the exhausting pretense that we can negotiate with reality. We can't argue with a drought, a shattered mug, a global pandemic, or a delayed train. But we can always choose how we stand in relation to it. Do we stand shaking our fist at the sky, wasting our spirit? Or do we stand, like Lemaian, doing what can be done with a heart that isn't at war with the weather? Our minds are brilliant storytellers. They weave elaborate tales about how things should be, and then wage war when the world refuses to read the script. This war is what we often call stress, or anxiety, or frustration. But it's just a rebellion against the present fact. Let's see this in a different landscape, one of steel and glass and relentless motion. In the heart of Tokyo's Shinjuku station, a salaryman named Kenji is trying to get home. It's the last train of the night, and it's packed. Bodies are pressed together in the humid carriage. Kenji feels his personal space vanish. He's tired. He had a difficult meeting. He just wants to be home. Suddenly, the train jerks to a halt between stations. An announcement crackles, a delay due to a signal problem. Indefinite wait. A collective groan moves through the carriage. Kenji feels his tension spike. His mind races, I need to sleep. I have an early meeting. This is unacceptable. He looks around. He sees faces etched with the same frustration. And then he sees an elderly man, leaning against a pole, his eyes closed. But he's not sleeping. A faint, peaceful smile touches his lips. He is the very picture of acceptance, a still point in the swirling discomfort. Kenji is intrigued. He decides to experiment. Instead of feeding his frustration, he leans into the reality. I am on a stalled train. I am surrounded by people. I am not moving. This is my experience right now. He stops fighting it. He feels the sway of the carriage. He hears the mix of sighs and quiet conversations. He notices the intricate pattern of a stranger's scarf. The frustration doesn't disappear, but it ceases to be the commander of his experience. It becomes a background sensation, like the hum of the train's lights. He even makes eye contact with a woman across from him, and they share a small, weary smile of commiseration. A sense of shared humanity replaces his isolated irritation. When the train finally moves an hour later, he is tired, but not ravaged by anger. He had met the reality of the delay, and in doing so, found a strange companionship with it. He didn't get peace because the train moved. He found peace while the train was still. This is the essential pivot. We believe peace is what we feel when obstacles are removed. True peace is the quality of our attention while the obstacle is still present. It is the space you create around the problem, not the elimination of the problem itself. This understanding feels manageable when we talk about trains and traffic. But the heart asks, rightly, what about real devastation? What about loss, illness, grief? The principle doesn't weaken, it becomes more vital. Acceptance here is not about liking the pain. It is about ceasing the secondary assault, the one where we scream at the universe, "This cannot be. This is wrong." That scream adds a layer of mental torment on top of the raw heartache. Let me tell you about Clara, in a small coastal town in Maine. Clara was a sailor. The sea was her language. At 55, a stroke left her with a weakened left side and blurred vision. She could no longer read charts, handle lines, or trust her balance on a deck. The first year was a fury of denial and rage. She fought her body, pushing it in physical therapy with a punishing determination rooted in anger. She grieved the open water, the feel of the helm, the future voyages now confined to memory. Her suffering was a double agony, the neurological loss, and her furious rebellion against it. The turning point came on a day she tried to force her way onto a friend's boat. She stumbled on the gangway, not falling, but feeling the terrifying fragility of her new equilibrium. Sitting on the dock, the salt air in her lungs, she broke. Not into more anger, but into a deep, quiet exhaustion. The fight drained out of her. A thought arose, clear as a bell: what if I just stop fighting? What if I let this be true? It was the ceasefire. She began, for the first time, to listen to her body with curiosity instead of contempt. She accepted its new limits not as a prison, but as the current geography of her life. She sold her sailboat and bought a sturdy, stable skiff. She couldn't sail the Atlantic, but she could putter around the harbor, feeling the sun and the spray. She traded navigation for knitting, making thick, cable-knit sweaters for her grandchildren, the rhythm of the needles a new kind of tide. The stroke's effects didn't vanish. But the suffering, the tempest of resistance, shame, and rage, began to recede. She said later, "The stroke took my sailor's body. My war with the stroke was taking my soul. When I surrendered, I got myself back. A different self, but a self I could finally live with." Her story holds the core truth: pain visits everyone. Suffering is a choice. Pain is the first, unavoidable arrow life sometimes shoots: the loss, the diagnosis, the betrayal. Suffering is the second arrow we shoot into ourselves, the stories of "why me?" the resistance, the endless replay. Acceptance is how we learn to stop firing that second arrow. We meet the first arrow with awareness, and in that meeting, we find a grace that bitterness can never know. This brings us to the engine of this entire practice, a quality we often misunderstand: patience. We think of it as waiting without complaining, as merely enduring. In the deeper sense we explore here, patience is the active, courageous cultivation of space. It is allowing life, others, and ourselves to unfold in their own time. It has three vital, interwoven dimensions. The first dimension is patience with others. The rude clerk, the interrupting colleague, the partner who leaves dishes by the sink yet again. Our instinct is to react, to condemn, to build a solid case for their wrongness. But what if that person is a messenger, holding up a mirror to a part of ourselves we haven't yet made peace with? Often, the traits that ignite our sharpest judgment in others are unexamined shadows within our own hearts. There is a tale from a monastery in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco. A young, fervent monk was constantly irritated by an older monk who chanted off-key during morning prayers. The discordant note grated on him daily, fueling silent judgments about the old monk's lack of devotion or awareness. One day, in frustration, he confronted the teacher. "How can I find peace in prayer when his voice is like a knife in my ears?" The teacher replied, "The fault is not in his voice, but in your ear that demands only one kind of beauty. His note is true for him. Your suffering comes from your insistence that the song must sound only as you imagine it. Can you listen to the entire chorus, the coughs, the shuffles, the off-key notes, the perfect tones, as one single, human song offered to the sky?" The young monk was humbled. He began to practice listening to the whole sound, not just the note that offended him. Gradually, the old monk's voice ceased to be an irritant. It became simply a part of the tapestry of their shared, imperfect devotion. His patience was born when he stopped demanding that others conform to the soundtrack in his own mind. This is patience with others, recognizing that everyone is singing the song of their life, often out of key, from a place of their own unseen pain or history. Your patience is the space you create where their song can be, without you needing to conduct it. The second dimension of patience is patience with your own becoming. This is where we are often most merciless. We decide to change, to be more mindful, to exercise, to learn a skill, to be less reactive. We envision a new version of ourselves, polished and complete. We expect a straight, ascending line of progress. When we inevitably falter, when old patterns resurface, we turn on ourselves with brutal criticism. We declare ourselves frauds and failures. This impatience with our own humanity is a major source of abandonment on any meaningful path. Think of it like learning to speak a language as an adult. The first week is thrilling. You learn greetings, numbers, how to order coffee. You feel a spark of possibility. Then you hit the grammar. The subjunctive mood, the irregular verbs, the endless exceptions. The thrill fades. Progress feels glacial. You listen to a native speaker and your own speech feels clumsy, childish. This is the critical plateau of integration. Most people quit here, believing the magic is gone. But this plateau is where the language moves from being a party trick in your mind to becoming a living tool in your nervous system. The initial excitement was just the invitation. The tedious, often frustrating work on the plateau is the actual path home. A potter in Santa Fe, New Mexico understands this deeply. Elena could always make nice things. Her early pots were charming, sold well at local markets. Then she decided she wanted to make not just nice pots, but great ones. Pots with presence. She apprenticed with a master who made her throw the same simple cylinder, over and over, for months. No decoration. No glazing. Just the cylinder. Centering the clay, pulling the walls, compressing the rim. It was monotonous. It felt like going backward. Her old, charming style deserted her. Everything felt stiff and awkward. She wanted to quit, to return to her successful, pretty pots. Her master would say, "You are unlearning. The boredom is your teacher. It is burning away what is superficial. Stay in the fire." Elena stayed. She threw hundreds of cylinders. And then, one day, without thought, her hands knew. The clay seemed to rise of its own accord. The cylinder was perfect, effortless. From that day, everything changed. Her work deepened, simplified, gained a profound quiet strength. The boredom of the plateau had burned away her attachment to quick results and external praise. It had forged a deeper relationship with the clay itself. Her patience with the process, her willingness to endure the unglamorous, repetitive middle, was what transformed her from a hobbyist into an artist. Your personal or spiritual practice is the same. The days when meditation feels like babysitting a chaotic mind, when kindness feels forced, when you snap despite your resolve, those are your cylinder days. They are not evidence of failure. They are the necessary, unglamorous work of integration. Be patient. Show up for the repetition. Consistency in the face of boredom or apparent regression builds an inner integrity that momentary inspiration can never provide. The third dimension is patience with life's fundamental nature, its impermanence and its inherent lack of guaranteed outcomes. This is the deepest, most challenging patience. We crave certainty. We want a contract with existence. If I am good, good will come to me. If I work hard, I will succeed. If I eat clean, I will be healthy. Life honors no such contracts. It offers only probabilities, rhythms, and cycles. The only certainty is change. There is an old parable from the steppes of Mongolia. A herder's most prized horse, a magnificent black stallion, breaks through a fence and vanishes into the vast grasslands. His neighbors come to console him. "Such terrible luck," they say. The herder shrugs. Is it luck? Is it not? Who can say? A week later, the stallion returns, leading a herd of 12 wild mares. The neighbors return, celebrating. What incredible luck! The herder shrugs. Is it luck? Is it not? Who can say? His only son, eager to tame the wild horses, is thrown from one and breaks his leg. The neighbors lament, "What tragic luck, just when your wealth increased." The herder shrugs. Is it tragedy? Is it not? Who can say? Soon after, the Khan's army passes through, conscripting all able-bodied young men for a brutal war. They leave the son with his broken leg behind. The neighbors proclaim his amazing fortune. The herder simply tends his animals and says, "Who can say?" The herder's patience is not passive ignorance. It is a profound humility in the face of an unfinished story. He tends to what is before him, the missing horse, the new mares, his son's leg, without attaching a final, absolute label of good or bad. He allows the narrative to remain open, knowing he sees only a single thread in a vast, weaving tapestry. This is patience with life. Holding your plans and judgments lightly, understanding that you are a participant in a story whose full meaning may forever remain beyond your sight. These three strands, patience with others, with self, with life's uncertainty, are woven together by a single, golden practice, the return. This is the essence of meditation. Not achieving empty stillness, but the gentle, faithful act of returning your wandering attention to an anchor in the present moment. Imagine your awareness as a graceful sailboat on a wide ocean. Your chosen course is presence, peace, acceptance. But the winds are constant, the gusts of worry about the future, the currents of regret about the past, the sudden squalls of emotion. Meditation is not about calming the ocean of your mind and life will always have weather. It is about learning, through 1,000 tiny, gentle adjustments of the tiller, your intention, to return to your course. Each time you notice you've been carried miles away by a story of anxiety and you guide your attention back to the feeling of your breath, you've made an adjustment. You've trained as the captain. Over years, you still get blown off course, but you recognize it sooner, and the journey back becomes smoother, more instinctual. The ocean's nature doesn't change. Your seamanship does. Let's ground these ideas in more stories, from different corners of the human experience. In a noisy, fragrant workshop in Fez, Morocco, a master tilemaker named Youssef trains his apprentices in the art of zellige, creating intricate geometric mosaics from hand-chiseled tiles. A young apprentice, Ali, is struggling. His cuts are uneven. His patterns don't align. With each mistake, he grows more furious, his hands trembling. He mutters curses, blaming the tools, the clay, his own stupid hands. Youssef watches. He doesn't offer technical advice. He places a hand on Ali's shoulder and says, "You are fighting the tile. The tile is not your enemy. It is just clay. Your enemy is in here." He taps Ali's chest. "Breathe. Make the tile your friend. Ask it what shape it wishes to be today." Ali, confused, tries to slow down. He stops seeing the tile as an obstacle to his perfect vision and starts working with its slight irregularities. His next cut is better. Not perfect, but fluid. The patience he cultivates is not with the tile, but with the process of relationship between his intention and the material world. He learns that force creates fracture, but attentive partnership creates beauty. Now, to a hushed oncology waiting room in Toronto. An elderly man named Henry sits with his wife, Ruth. They are waiting for scan results. The air is thick with unspoken fear. Henry watches Ruth, her hands folded neatly in her lap. He remembers their life, the loud, chaotic family holidays, the quiet mornings with coffee, the arguments, the forgiveness. A wave of anxiety threatens to engulf him. What if? This shouldn't be happening. He feels the urge to retreat into the numbness of old sports magazines. Instead, he chooses a different patience. He reaches over and takes Ruth's hand. He doesn't try to fill the silence with hollow reassurance. He simply sits in the reality of the waiting, hand in hand. He accepts the fear as a part of the love. He is not patient for the results, he is patient within the waiting. This shared, honest presence becomes a sanctuary in the sterile room. Their connection in that moment becomes more immediate and real than any possible future news. He practices patience with life's most difficult uncertainty by fully inhabiting the love that exists now. On a windswept cliffside in Donegal, Ireland, a woman named Niamh tends a small, stubborn garden. The Atlantic gales whip salt spray over the wall. Things grow stunted, tough, leaning perpetually east. A visiting cousin from the fertile Midlands laughs. Why do you bother? You'll never grow proper flowers here. Neve smiles, brushing soil from her hands. I'm not growing the flowers I imagined. I'm growing the flowers that agree to live here with me. She points to a cluster of sea thrift, its pink blossoms clinging tenaciously to rocks. See? They've accepted the wind. They don't fight it. They've become beautiful because of it, not in spite of it. Her patience is with the land itself. She has accepted the fundamental conditions of her patch of earth and works in harmony with them, not against them. Her garden is a masterpiece of co-creation, a testament to the beauty that emerges when we stop arguing with the basic nature of our circumstances. These narratives are maps, showing the terrain of acceptance and patience from various vantage points. But the ground you walk is your own life. So, how do we translate this into the daily grammar of living? First, install the pause button. Between the event, the critical email, the spilled milk, the sudden change, and your reaction, there exists a sliver of space. In that space lives your entire freedom. Your power is not in controlling the event, but in choosing your relationship to it in the next moment. Cultivate that pause. When you feel the familiar surge, the tightness in the throat, the clenching fist, stop. Even for one full breath. That breath is the doorway into the space where choice is possible. Second, practice spaciousness instead of solution. When an uncomfortable emotion arises, anxiety, sadness, loneliness, the habitual move is to fix it, to make it go away. Try a counterintuitive move. Turn toward it. Say inwardly, hello. I feel you. Create mental space around the feeling. Imagine it as a weather pattern moving through the vast sky of your awareness. Don't tighten around it, soften. Unclench your jaw. Relax your belly. Breathe into the sensations. You are not agreeing with the story the emotion tells, you are giving the raw energy of it room to move through you without becoming a permanent resident. This is acceptance at the level of the nervous system. Third, become a detective of should. At day's end, reflect gently. Where did you feel disappointment or irritation today? Track it back, like following a stream to its source. You will almost always find a hidden should. He should have remembered. The software should work. I should be further along by now. Simply identifying the silent, demanding should shines a light on it. Seen clearly, its power to command your emotional state begins to fade. You start to see how much of your daily suffering is self-generated, woven from the invisible threads of your personal demands on the universe. Fourth, identify today's unmovable rock. Every day presents its own version of the endless freight train. A fact you cannot change. It might be someone else's decision, a past mistake, a physical limitation, the weather. Choose one. Just one. And for today, make a pact with yourself, you will not honk at it. You will not waste mental energy arguing with this particular rock. You will acknowledge it, and then direct your energy toward what you can move. Notice the liberation that follows when you cease trying to push the mountain. This work is incremental. It's the accumulation of 1,000 small moments of remembering. You will forget. You will honk. You will tighten. That is perfectly human, perfectly part of the path. The practice is not in perfect execution, but in the faithful, gentle return. Let me offer you a few more guiding lights, stories from other walks of life. In a sleek architectural firm in Singapore, a project lead named Shi Wei is trapped in the cult of productivity. His worth is a formula of billable hours, client praise, and prestigious awards. He has a panic attack in an elevator, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. Terrified, he begins therapy. His therapist asks a simple, devastating question: who are you when you are not achieving? He has no answer. The silence that follows is terrifying. He has built his identity on a foundation of sand, and the tide is coming in. His journey begins with accepting this void, this frightening emptiness where a self should be. Slowly, he starts to disentangle his being from his doing. He takes up birdwatching in the city's green corridors, an activity with no outcome, no product, just patient attention. He learns to find value in the noticing, the flash of a kingfisher's wing, the intricate song of a bulbul. He doesn't quit his job, but he stops living for it. He accepts the competitive nature of his field without demanding it be the source of his soul. His panic recedes. He brings a new, calm detachment to his work that makes him more creative, not less. He accepted the void, and in that acceptance, found a foundation that no client's opinion could ever shake. On a family farm in the Punjab, a farmer named Amarjeet faces a swarm of locusts. It arrives like a dark, buzzing cloud, descending on his wheat fields, the work of a season. He stands at the edge of his land with his sons. There is nothing to be done. No amount of shouting, waving, or prayer will stop the countless jaws. The old Amarjeet would have raged, wept, felt his spirit devoured along with the crop. This time, he simply watches. He feels the grief, sharp and clean. He does not layer it with, "Why me?" or "This is unfair." It is just grief. He turns to his sons and says, "This is farming. Sometimes the sky gives, and sometimes the sky takes. Our work is in how we meet both." He accepts the reality of the swarm. The next day, he begins planning what can be planted in the damaged fields, what can be salvaged. His sorrow doesn't disappear, but it is not compounded by bitterness. His heart remains intact, ready to plant again. He accepted the locusts, and in doing so, protected the only crop that truly matters, his own capacity to begin again. Let's dive deeper into the mechanism of our suffering. It's not the external event that causes our turmoil, it's the invisible architecture we build around it in our minds. This architecture is made of two primary materials, attachment and aversion. Clinging to what we want, pushing away what we don't want. And the blueprint for this architecture? Our expectations. We live much of our lives in a phantom future, a mental simulation of how things should go. This simulation feels so real, so vivid, that when reality inevitably presents a different scene, we experience it as a violation, a personal affront. The gap between expectation and reality is where disappointment, anger, and anxiety are born. Consider a musician, not on stage, but in a practice room. In Berlin, a cellist named Lotte prepares for the audition of her life, a permanent chair in a prestigious orchestra. For months, she lives the audition in her mind. She imagines walking confidently into the hall, the respectful nod of the committee, her fingers moving with flawless precision, the final note hanging in the air followed by appreciative silence. She expects this. She attaches her sense of worth, her entire musical identity, to this specific outcome. The day arrives. She walks in. The room is colder than she imagined. One judge looks bored, another checks his phone. Her fingers, tight with the pressure of her expectation, feel clumsy. A string squeaks. Her mind, clinging to the perfect phantom performance, goes into panic. This shouldn't be happening. The rest is a blur of missed cues and spiraling fear. She leaves, devastated. The reality was an audition, a difficult, imperfect performance. But her suffering was monumental, because it wasn't just about the performance, it was about the collapse of the entire future she had attached herself to. The second arrow of her expectation had pierced far deeper than the first arrow of a shaky audition. Contrast this with another musician. In Kyoto, a shakuhachi flute player named Kenji practices for a tea ceremony performance. The shakuhachi is a simple bamboo flute, notoriously difficult to master. Kenji's teacher has told him for years, do not play for the ceremony. Play as the ceremony. The sound is not for the listener's ears, but for the space between things. Kenji holds no specific expectation for how the notes will land. He practices being present with the breath, the bamboo, the moment. The day of the ceremony, a rain begins, pattering on the roof. Instead of fighting this unexpected sound, he listens. He allows the rhythm of the rain to enter his playing, his notes becoming sparse, leaving room for the weather. The performance is not what anyone, including Kenji, could have imagined. It is something entirely new, a duet with the rain. Because he was free from attachment to a specific result, he was free to collaborate with reality. His piece was not in a flawless execution of a plan, but in the intimate dialogue with the present moment. This is the freedom we seek, to participate fully in life without being kidnapped by our fantasies about it. To hold our hopes lightly, like a kite on a string, rather than gripping them like the edge of a cliff. How do we cultivate this? We start by studying the stories we tell ourselves. The mind is a masterful, compulsive narrator. It doesn't just report events, it dramatizes, judges, spins epic tales of victory and victimhood. Most of our suffering occurs in this theater of the mind, not in the actual events of our lives. Let me tell you about Mateo, a lawyer in Buenos Aires. Mateo had a habit of pre-living difficult conversations. A meeting with a contentious partner would be scheduled for Thursday. From Monday onward, Mateo's mind would stage the encounter. He'd craft eloquent arguments, imagine cutting retorts, rehearse defenses against imagined accusations. By Wednesday, he'd be emotionally exhausted, having lived through the confrontation a dozen times, his body flooded with stress hormones as if each mental rehearsal were real. When Thursday finally arrived, the actual meeting was often mundane. The partner was distracted, the issues were straightforward. Mateo would leave confused, feeling the anticlimax, still buzzing with unused adversarial energy. His suffering had been almost entirely self-generated, a product of the elaborate, fearful story he'd been telling himself for days. The reality was a simple conversation, the suffering was in the epic prequel he authored and starred in. The practice, then, is to notice the narrative and gently question its authority. When you find yourself writing the screenplay for a future conflict or replaying the director's cut of a past slight, pause. Ask, am I here, in this room, or am I on a stage in my mind? What is actually happening in my senses, right now? The feel of the air, the sound in the room, the solidity of the floor beneath you, these are anchors that can pull you out of the fictional drama and back into the simple, manageable reality of the present. This leads us to a powerful tool, inquiry. When a strong emotion arises, especially one of resistance like frustration or anxiety, instead of being swept away by its story, turn toward it with gentle curiosity. In a quiet library in Oxford, a PhD student named Anya is facing writer's block. A deadline looms. The anxiety is a tight ball in her stomach. The story her mind tells is one of impending failure, professional ruin, exposure as a fraud. It's a convincing, terrifying tale. One afternoon, overwhelmed, she sets aside her notes. She closes her eyes and does something radical. She stops trying to think her way out of the anxiety. Instead, she asks the feeling itself, "What are you?" She drops the story of deadline and failure and just feels the physical sensation, the tightness, the heat, the fluttering. She notices where it is in her body, its shape, its texture. Without labeling it bad, she simply observes. As she does, something remarkable happens. The tight ball begins to soften, to dissolve into a wave of simple energy. The catastrophic story loses its grip. What remains is not a solved problem, but a quiet space. From that space, an hour later, she finds she can write again, not from panic, but from clarity. She didn't solve her anxiety, she met it. And in the meeting, it transformed. This practice of inquiry, of asking, "What is this?" instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" disempowers the stories that fuel our suffering. It brings us back to the raw data of experience, which is always more manageable than the elaborate interpretations we pile on top of it. Now, let's apply this to one of the most common sources of modern anguish, the feeling of being overwhelmed. We often think being overwhelmed is caused by having too much to do. While that can be a trigger, the true source is often a failure of acceptance, a refusal to meet the reality of our limitations. Picture a tech startup in Bangalore. Priya is a product manager. Her Slack pings constantly. Her calendar is a mosaic of back-to-back meetings. Her to-do list is a scroll of shame. She feels breathless, fractured, on the verge of tears by midday. She believes her overwhelm is due to her workload. One Sunday, she experiments. She turns off all devices. She takes a blank sheet of paper and writes at the top, what is actually true right now. Not what she fears, or what she should do, but what is fact. She writes, I am one person. I have two hands. I need sleep. I can only do one thing at a time. The company will not collapse if I breathe. She reads the list. It seems absurdly simple. But in its simplicity is a profound acceptance of her human limits. On Monday, she enters her chaos with this list in mind. She starts saying no, or not now, to non-critical requests. She blocks time for single tasks. She accepts that she cannot be everywhere at once. The workload doesn't magically decrease, but her relationship to it transforms. The overwhelm was not in the work, it was in her refusal to acknowledge the finite container of her own energy and time. When she accepted the container, she could begin to make conscious choices about what to put in it. This is a crucial insight. Overwhelm is often the psychic rebellion against our finitude. Accepting that we are limited, fragile, mortal beings is not depressing, it is the foundation of peace. It forces prioritization, self-care, and the humble recognition that the world's demands are infinite, but our capacity is not. Peace is found in lovingly tending to our limits, not in raging against them. Let's weave this into the fabric of relationships, where our expectations and stories are often most intense and painful. In a marriage, in a suburb of Copenhagen, Lars and Anya have a recurring argument. It's always about tidiness. Lars is meticulous, Anya is creatively messy. For years, their dance is one of criticism and defense. Lars expects a tidy home, Anya expects to be accepted as she is. Both are attached to their version of how the other should be. The conflict is not about socks on the floor, it's about the collision of two rigid blueprints for domestic life. One evening, during the cold silence after yet another round, Lars has a memory. He remembers Anya, years ago, completely absorbed in painting a mural for their first child's room, her clothes smudged with color, the floor a happy chaos of brushes and papers. He had loved her passion in that moment. He sees that his demand for order is, in part, a fear of that kind of unbridled, messy life. Anya, in her room, remembers Lars carefully repairing a broken music box for their daughter, his total focus, the organized array of tiny tools. She had loved his careful devotion. She sees that her resistance to tidiness is, in part, a fear of being controlled, of her spirit being put in a box. They don't have a conversation that night. But something shifts. Lars, the next morning, doesn't see a sock as a personal insult, but as a trace of Anya's presence. He picks it up without resentment. Anya, noticing, makes an effort to contain her creative projects to her studio. They don't achieve perfection. They achieve something better, flexibility. They loosen their attachment to their rigid blueprints and start co-creating a real, imperfect home together. The argument loses its fuel when the expectation is replaced by understanding, and understanding is born from the acceptance of the other's fundamental, different nature. This is the alchemy of acceptance in relationships, seeing the person before you, not the projection you have placed upon them. It doesn't mean tolerating harm. It means separating the human being from the role you need them to play in your personal story of how life should be. Now, let's visit a setting where acceptance meets its ultimate test, in the face of irreparable loss. In a hospice in New Zealand, a man named Tane is keeping vigil for his father. The grief is a physical presence, a heavy cloak. The mind offers its usual stories. It's not fair. We needed more time. I should have visited more. These thoughts are like knives, twisting the grief into agony. One afternoon, a Maori nurse sits with him. She doesn't offer platitudes. She says, "The pain is the love with nowhere to go. Don't fight the pain. Let it be the love." Tane lets the words sink in. He stops fighting the waves of grief. He stops telling himself stories about fairness. He simply sits with the raw, aching love for his father. He accepts that this pain is the relationship, continuing in a new form. The suffering. The added layer of rebellion and should begins to melt. What remains is a sorrow so pure it borders on beauty. He is not grieving a loss, he is honoring a connection that death cannot alter. His acceptance doesn't remove the pain of death, but it transforms the experience from one of desperate resistance to one of sacred, painful communion. This points to the deepest truth of all: acceptance is the gateway not to numbness, but to a more intimate, real, and vibrant engagement with life. In all its joy and all its sorrow. It allows us to feel fully without being destroyed by what we feel. So, how do we practice this in the small, daily crucibles? First, practice and, instead of, but. Our language reveals our resistance. I'm tired, but I have to work. This sets up a conflict. Try, I'm tired, and I have work to do. Both facts can coexist. I'm sad about leaving, and I'm excited for the new adventure. This simple linguistic shift acknowledges the complex truth of the moment without one part having to cancel out the other. It's a practice in holding multiplicity, in accepting that life is rarely a single note. Second, end the day with what was. Before sleep, instead of reviewing your to-do list or worries, take 2 minutes to simply acknowledge the day as it was. Not as it should have been. Mentally walk through it and say, that happened. And then that happened. And then I felt that. Like a kind, neutral historian recording events. This practice trains the mind in factual observation, weakening its habit of judgmental storytelling. Third, find the gift of the obstacle. When something blocks your path, a cancelled flight, a power outage, a sudden illness, ask, after the initial frustration, what does this interruption make space for? The cancelled flight might force a quiet night in a hotel, a chance to read. The power outage might bring candlelight and conversation. The illness might mandate rest you've been denying yourself. This isn't toxic positivity. It's a creative engagement with reality, looking for the unexpected shape in the marble, rather than lamenting that it isn't already a perfect statue. Fourth, dedicate time to useless beauty. Spend 10 minutes doing something with no purpose other than appreciation. Watch clouds. Listen to a single song with full attention. Feel the texture of a leaf. This practice directly counters the mind's utilitarian drive, its constant demand for productivity and specific outcomes. It trains you in receiving the world as it is, without needing it to be useful. In that reception, peace naturally arises. Remember, this path is not about achieving a state of perpetual Zen. It is about increasing your fluency in the language of the present moment. You will still get angry, scared, sad. The goal is not to eliminate these responses, but to experience them without adding the layer of condemnation, without believing they are mistakes in your spiritual progress. A wave of anger can be felt, acknowledged, and allowed to pass through. It only becomes suffering when you build a castle of identity on top of it. I am an angry person. This is wrong. They made me this way. You are not a static being. You are a process, a river of experience. Acceptance is saying yes to the flow of the river, with all its rocks and eddies and calm stretches. Resistance is trying to dam it, or reverse it, or insisting it be a different river altogether. One approach leads to harmony with life. The other leads to exhaustion and despair. The choice, moment by moment, is yours. Let's explore a dimension of this piece that often goes unseen, its relationship with time. We suffer because we are time travelers. Our consciousness rarely inhabits the present. It is pulled into the reconstructed past, heavy with regret and nostalgia, or it is projected into an imagined future, shimmering with anxiety or hope. The present moment. The only place where life is actually happening, is often just a blurry station we rush through on our way to somewhere else. Think of your attention as a flashlight. For most of us, that flashlight is either pointed backward, illuminating the dusty archives of what was, or forward, casting a shaky beam on the shadow puppet theater of what might be. The room we are actually standing in, the what is, remains in darkness. We stub our toes on the furniture of the present because we're not looking at it. In the ancient city of Varanasi, India, a sand artist named Rajesh works on the Ghats by the Ganges. He creates elaborate, temporary mandalas from colored sand, intricate gods, swirling galaxies, geometric wonders. Tourists gather, take photos, marvel. And then, as the sun begins to set, Rajesh does the unthinkable. He kneels, and with a gentle sweep of his hand, he destroys the masterpiece. The crowd gasps. A child asks, why? It was so beautiful. Rajesh smiles. Its beauty was in its making. Its truth is in its returning. The river does not cling to the wave. The sky does not cling to the cloud. If I cling to yesterday's mandala, I have no hands free to make today's. For him, the past masterpiece is a memory, not a possession. The future mandala is an idea, not a guarantee. His artistry exists only in the present. In the feel of the sand between his fingers, the focus of his eye, the connection between his heart and the pattern emerging now. He is a master of the fleeting present, and in that mastery, he touches the eternal. We, however, spend our days trying to preserve yesterday's mandala or control tomorrow's. We miss the sand moving through our fingers right now. Our suffering is the grief for the destroyed mandala that was never meant to last, mixed with anxiety about the one we haven't even begun. How do we bring our flashlight beam back to the room we're in? We practice grounding in the senses. The past and future are realms of thought. The present is a realm of direct sensation. You can't smell a memory of a rose. You can't taste an anxiety about tomorrow's lunch. The doorway back is through the body. During a blackout in New York City, a writer named Samuel found himself stranded in his 20th floor apartment. The elevator was dead. The Wi-Fi was gone. His phone battery dwindled. The frantic mental chatter about deadlines and emails slowly ran out of fuel, faced with the immovable fact of the dark, silent apartment. With nothing else to do, he lit a candle. He sat by the window. He began to notice what was actually there. The surprising number of stars visible without the city's glare. the pattern of candlelight flickering on the ceiling. The sound of his own breath, something he hadn't truly heard in years. The feel of the cool glass against his forehead. For the first time in memory, his mind stopped its compulsive travel. It came to rest in the sensory reality of the moment. He felt a peace so deep it brought tears to his eyes. Not because anything was solved, the power was still out, his work was still pending. But because he had accidentally stopped arguing with what is and had started simply experiencing it. The blackout didn't give him peace, it removed the distractions that allowed him to notice the peace that was already available, hidden beneath the noise of his time-traveling mind. This is a profound secret: stillness is not something you create. It's something you uncover when you stop moving. When you stop chasing the past and future, you discover you are already standing in a quiet clearing. But what about when the present moment is painful? When the sensations are of fear, or physical pain, or profound sadness? The instruction remains the same, though the courage required is greater. The way out of intense suffering is paradoxically through it, not by fighting it, but by meeting it with mindful awareness. Consider a story from the world of extreme athletics. A free diver, plunging hundreds of feet on a single breath, describes the samba near the surface, the body's involuntary convulsions as it screams for oxygen. The instinct is to panic, to fight, to flail toward the light. This is how blackouts happen. The training is to recognize the convulsions not as a signal of imminent death, but as a sensation. To relax into it, to keep the limbs loose, to continue the graceful ascent. The sensation doesn't disappear, but the panic does. And without the panic, the body's oxygen is used more efficiently, and safety is reached. The diver accepts the terrifying sensation as part of the journey, and that acceptance is what allows her to complete it safely. Our emotional sambas are similar. The wave of panic, the grip of grief, the burn of anger, these are sensations. Our suffering is the panic about the panic, the resistance to the grief, the story around the anger. When we can, with tremendous courage, turn toward the raw sensation and say, "This is what is here now," we stop feeding the secondary fire. We experience the first arrow, but we cease firing the volley of second arrows. The sensation may remain, but we are no longer drowning in it. We are observing it, and in that observation, we find a space that cannot be touched by the sensation itself. This is not easy. It is the work of a lifetime. But we can train in small ways. Begin with the 10-second return. Set a gentle timer on your phone to chime once an hour. When it chimes, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, let it be a summons back. Stop. Take one conscious breath. Ask, what do I feel in my feet right now? What do I hear? What is the light like? Don't analyze, just register. For 10 seconds, be a scientist of your present experience. Then continue. This tiny practice, repeated, begins to rewire the nervous system's habit of automatic time travel. Practice leaving the conference call. Notice when your mind is having a meeting about a past or future event without you, rehashing a conversation, rehearsing a speech. Gently interrupt it. Say inwardly, "Thank you for the update." Meeting adjourned. And deliberately bring your attention to a sensory anchor, the taste of your tea, the texture of your desk, the sound of birds outside. You are the CEO of your attention. You can end unproductive meetings. Now, let's apply this understanding of present moment awareness to a universal human experience, waiting. We treat waiting as empty time, a parenthesis in the sentence of our lives. We fill it with frantic scrolling, with irritation, with mental lists. What if waiting is not empty, but full? What if it is the very curriculum? At a bus stop in a small town in Italy, an old man named Giorgio waits every day for the 3:15 to the next village. He doesn't have a phone. He sits on the bench. He watches the pigeons. He notices the way the light changes on the church facade. He greets the shopkeeper who steps out to sweep. He has been taking this bus for 40 years. For him, the 20-minute wait is not dead time, it is a rich, daily ritual of presence. He is not waiting for the bus, he is being at the bus stop. His life is not on hold, it is happening in the noticing of the pigeons, the light, the greetings. He has dissolved the barrier between waiting and living. Contrast this with the modern airport gate. A hive of agitated waiting. Everyone is mentally already at their destination, or stressing about the connection they might miss. The present, the gate area, is a purgatory to be endured, numbed with screens and snacks. The suffering in that gate is palpable. It's the suffering of resistance to the present, of wanting to be anywhere but here. The practice is this: next time you are waiting, in a line, in traffic, at an appointment, drop the story that you are waiting. Simply be where you are. Look at the colors around you. Feel the air on your skin. Listen to the symphony of ambient sound. You are not waiting for life to start. This is your life. This moment of apparent pause is as much a part of the tapestry as the moments of dramatic action. When you accept the waiting as part of the journey, not an obstacle to it, the frustration evaporates, replaced by simple, curious presence. This radical presence also transforms our relationship with boredom, the mind's great enemy. Boredom is just the mind complaining that the present moment isn't stimulating enough. It is a demand for a different reality. When we meet boredom not as a problem to be solved with distraction, but as a sensation to be explored, it often reveals itself as a gateway to quiet creativity or deep rest. A kindergarten teacher in Helsinki, named Lisa, watches children. When a child says, "I'm bored," the old response might be to provide an activity. Lisa's response is gentle: boredom is your imagination getting ready. Let's see what arrives. She doesn't rush to fill the space. She allows it. And almost always, after a period of fidgeting, the child drifts into independent, imaginative play, building a fort from chairs, drawing an elaborate story, talking to a toy. The boredom was the fertile fallow period before the creative crop sprouted. As adults, we have forgotten how to be fallow. We treat every moment of boredom as an emergency to be medicated with digital noise. In doing so, we starve our own inner creativity and never discover the subtle, rich textures of our own unstimulated minds. The invitation is to occasionally allow boredom. Put the phone in another room. Sit. Gaze out the window. Don't do anything. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. The mind will protest. Stay with it. Soon, you may notice the play of light, a long-forgotten memory, a simple feeling of peace, or a genuinely new idea bubbling up from the silence. You are not just enduring boredom, you are mining it for the treasures that only stillness can reveal. Finally, let's consider presence in the context of joy. We often miss our happiest moments because we are not in them. We are taking a mental photo for later, or already worrying about the joy ending. At a wedding in Mexico City, a grandmother named Rosa sits watching her granddaughter dance. Everyone else is on their phones, recording. Rosa simply watches. Her eyes are bright. She is not capturing the moment, she is letting it capture her. She feels the music in her old bones, sees the joy on her granddaughter's face, smells the flowers. She is utterly present. Later, when others are scrolling through their slightly shaky videos, Rosa holds the memory in her heart. A full sensory, embodied memory, not a digital file. Her joy was complete because she consumed it fully in the moment of its offering, rather than postponing it for a future replay. The practice here is, when joy visits, drop everything and receive it. Don't immediately reach for the camera. Don't think, I wish this would last. Let it land. Feel it in your body. Drink it in. Joy is a present moment phenomenon. It cannot be stored. It can only be experienced. Your full presence is the only vessel that can hold it. To weave this all together, let's return to the metaphor of the flashlight. Your life is the room. The past and future are fascinating, detailed paintings on the walls. But you live in the room. The furniture, the air, the temperature, that's the present. You can spend your life studying the paintings, commenting on their beauty or their flaws, and never sit in the comfortable chair that's right behind you. Or you can turn the beam onto the chair, sit down, and simply be in the room of your own life. This is the heart of the teaching from Monk's Temple. Life is not a problem to be solved in the future or a mistake to be corrected from the past. It is an experience to be lived now. Your peace depends not on changing the paintings on the walls, but on turning your chair to face the open window of the present, and feeling the breeze that is always blowing. We have explored acceptance and presence. Now let's examine the force that most commonly pulls us from that peaceful center, our own thought patterns. The mind is a magnificent tool, but a terrible master. It generates a constant stream of commentary, judgment, and narrative. Most of our suffering is not caused by life's events, but by the unseen, unchallenged stories our minds weave about those events. Learning to observe this process without being enslaved by it is the next step on the path. Think of your mind not as you, but as a skilled, sometimes overly dramatic, radio station that's always on. It has familiar channels, the worry channel, playing future disaster scenarios, the regret channel, replaying past mistakes in high definition, the comparison channel, judging your life against curated highlights of others, and the criticism channel, commentating on your every flaw. We mistakenly believe we are the broadcast. In truth, we are the one hearing the broadcast. And we have a hand on the dial. In a research lab at Stanford, a neuroscientist named Dr. Eris Demos studies what he calls narrative loops. He hooks participants up to EEG machines and asks them to recall a mildly stressful event. The brain scans light up in the emotional centers. Then he asks them to simply describe the physical sensations of the memory, the temperature in the room, the colors they saw, the sounds they heard, without any emotional story. The brain activity shifts dramatically to the sensory processing regions. The emotional storm calms. The event hadn't changed. The relationship to the memory had. By shifting from the narrative channel, "That was so unfair, I was so humiliated," to the sensory report channel, "The room was cold, the table was brown, his voice was at this pitch," they changed their experience of the past. They stopped listening to the dramatic radio play and started reading the technical stage directions. The suffering dissipated. This is a practice you can use in real time. When you notice yourself caught in a painful story, anxiety about a presentation, anger about a comment, pause. Ask, what are the pure sensory facts of this moment, right now? Not the story of, my career is over, but the feeling of your feet on the floor, the sight of the lamp's glow, the sound of distant traffic. This isn't avoidance. It's a strategic change of channel. It grounds you in the reality of the present, where the catastrophic story has no power, because it isn't happening. You regain the position of the observer, not the captive actor in the drama. Let's see this struggle between story and sensation play out in a demanding environment. At a Michelin-starred restaurant in Lyon, France, the head chef, Antoine, is a notorious perfectionist. During a crucial dinner service, a new sous chef overseers a scallop. Antoine sees it. The old narrative loop would ignite instantly, he's incompetent. He's ruining my reputation. This service is a disaster. His body would flood with cortisol, his face would turn red, and he would likely scream, creating a cascade of tension through his entire kitchen. But Antoine has been practicing. He sees the imperfect scallop. He feels the heat of the anger rise. Instead of following the story, he takes a microsecond. He feels his feet in his clogs, the weight of his knife in his hand, the heat of the stove on his face. The narrative, disaster, loses its fuel. From that grounded place, he simply says to the sous chef, calmly, that one's lost. Fire another. Watch the time. The correction is made. The kitchen remains focused. The crisis is averted because Antoine didn't let the story become the crisis. He managed the reality, a ruined scallop, without adding the suffering of his own catastrophic interpretation. Our minds love to turn a single event into a universal law. One rejected proposal becomes, I'm a failure. One critical comment becomes, nobody respects me. This is called cognitive fusion. We become fused with, and believe, every thought that passes through our heads. The practice is cognitive diffusion. Learning to see thoughts as just thoughts, like clouds passing in the sky of your awareness, or leaves floating down a stream. You notice them, but you don't have to jump in the stream and chase them. A powerful diffusion technique is to label the story. When you notice a familiar, painful narrative starting, silently give it a name. "Ah, here is the I'm not good enough story." Or, "There goes the catastrophe prediction channel." Or, "Hello, old friend, the comparison tragedy." This simple act of naming creates instant distance. You are no longer in the story, you are identifying it. You are the sky noticing a particular type of cloud. The story loses its authenticity and its power to dictate your emotions. Now, let's apply this to one of the most pervasive and painful stories of our age, the story of insufficiency. The feeling that we are not enough, not productive enough, not successful enough, not thin enough, not enlightened enough. This story is a parasite on peace. In the competitive art scene of Sao Paulo, a sculptor named Carla faced this demon. For years, her inner critic was a constant, vicious companion. Your work is derivative. That other artist is more original. You'll never be recognized. She would start pieces and abandon them, paralyzed by the narrative. Her breakthrough came during a period of creative drought. Desperate, she decided to make art for her critic. She created a series of small, grotesque, funny figurines, visual representations of the cruel voice. She gave them a physical form. She put them on a shelf in her studio. When the voice would start, she would look at the figurines and say, "Thank you for sharing." By externalizing the story, by making it an object she could look at, she completely diffused its power. The critic became just another element in her studio, not the director of her work. She was free to create again, not from a place of needing to prove her worth, but from a place of simple expression. The story of insufficiency lost its voice when she stopped treating it as the truth and started treating it as a separate, curious artifact. This is a potent practice. Give your inner critic a form. Draw it. Write its monologues in a notebook dedicated just to it. Give it a silly name. By objectifying the story, you reclaim your identity from it. You are not the critic, you are the one holding the pen that draws it. Beyond individual stories, we also live within larger cultural narratives that shape our suffering, the myth of constant progress, the cult of busyness, the illusion of permanent safety. Peace often requires consciously opting out of these shared stories. In a remote village in the Scottish Highlands, a man named Ewan lives a life that would be deemed unsuccessful by many modern metrics. He repairs stone walls, tends a few sheep, reads library books, and walks the hills. He has little money, no online presence, no career ladder. A journalist visiting once asked him, "Don't you feel you're being left behind? Don't you want more?" Ewan looked out at the mist settling in the glen. "Left behind from what?" he asked. "The rushing, the worrying, the having. I'm not behind. I'm here. And more is a story that never ends. I have enough sky, enough stone, enough quiet. That's a different story, and I choose it." Ewan had consciously detached from the dominant cultural narrative of accumulation and achievement. He accepted a different set of facts about what constitutes a good life. His peace came not from having nothing, but from wanting little, and from being deeply satisfied with the story he was living, not the one he was being sold. Your peace may require a similar audit. What stories have you inherited without question? I must own a home to be secure. I must be married by a certain age. I must be constantly productive. Are these stories true, or are they just very loud, very old broadcasts? You have the right to change the channel, to tune into a narrative that supports your well-being, one about enoughness, presence, and connection. Finally, let's look at the story we tell about our spiritual practice itself. This can be the most subtle trap of all. We start meditating to find peace, but soon the mind creates a new story. I'm not a good meditator. My mind won't be quiet. That person is so much more serene than me. I should be further along. We turn the path of release into another arena for achievement and comparison. A teacher from the monk's temple tradition once said, "The goal of meditation is not to become a good meditator. It is to become free from the need to be good at anything." The practice is not about achieving a perfectly still pond of a mind. It is about developing a friendly relationship with the pond however it is. Choppy, muddy, calm, or full of weeds. Every time you notice you've been lost in thought and gently return to your breath, you are not failing. You are succeeding at the only thing that matters, the return. That return is a miracle of awareness. Celebrate the noticing, not berate the wandering. In a meditation group in Cape Town, a woman named Thandi kept falling asleep during sessions. She'd wake up filled with shame. I'm failing at being awake, she'd think. The instructor reframed it. Your body is taking the rest it deeply needs. Thank it. Then, if you wish, sit up a little straighter. There is no failing here, only information. Thandi let go of the story of failure. Sometimes she still dozed. But the shame vanished. She began to meet her tired body with compassion instead of criticism. And curiously, as the pressure dropped, she found herself staying awake more often. The story of being a bad meditator was a greater obstacle than sleep itself. So, as you move through your days, begin to listen to the radio station of your mind not as news, but as background music. Notice the familiar songs. Don't try to shut the radio off, that's often impossible. Simply turn down the volume. Place your attention more on the direct experience of your senses, the life happening in the room around you, the sensations in your body. When a painful story arises in your mind, practice what can be called the 3 A's. The first A is to acknowledge it. Simply notice it without judgment. You might say softly to yourself, "Ah, this story is here." The second A is to allow it. Give the story space to be there without fighting it, without trying to push it away or argue with it. See it as just mental weather, passing through the sky of your awareness. The third A is to anchor yourself. Gently bring your attention away from the story and back to a stable, sensory anchor in the present moment. The feeling of your breath moving in and out, the sensation of your hands resting in your lap, or a simple sound you can hear in the room around you. You are not your thoughts. You are the vast, aware space in which thoughts come and go. When you identify as the space, not the passing weather, you discover a peace that no story can disrupt. Let's turn our attention now to a force that shapes our reality more than we often realize: our relationship with difficulty. We are conditioned to see difficulty as a mistake, a wrong turn, a failure of planning, an intrusion into the smooth life we feel we deserve. We meet it with resistance, frustration, and a sense of personal affront. But what if difficulty is not the enemy of a good life, but its essential raw material? What if, in our avoidance of difficulty, we are avoiding the very forge in which strength, depth, and character are shaped? Imagine a master blacksmith. She doesn't curse the hardness of the steel. She doesn't lament the heat of the fire. She understands that the steel's resistance to the hammer is what allows it to be shaped into something strong and useful. The fire isn't destroying the metal, it's making it malleable. Difficulty, in this view, is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the necessary condition for transformation. In the high-altitude vineyards of the Andes in Argentina, winemaker named Santiago knows this intimately. His vines grow on steep, rocky slopes, battered by fierce winds and scorching sun. The struggle is constant. The grapes that survive are small, with thick skins. A visiting viticulturist from a lush valley once told him, "You could irrigate, use more fertilizer, protect them from the wind. You'd get bigger grapes, more juice." Santiago shook his head. "The struggle is the flavor," he said. "The stress on the vine forces its roots deep into the rock to find water. It concentrates the sugars, the acids, the essence. Without the difficulty, the wine would be bland, simple. It would have no story to tell in the glass." He accepts the harsh conditions as his vineyard's unique voice, not its flaw. His most prized wines are born from the most challenging vintages. The difficulty isn't an obstacle to great wine, it is the author of it. Our lives are similar. The periods of ease are pleasant, like the fertile valley. But our depth, our resilience, our unique flavor, is often formed on the rocky slopes, in the struggle to send roots deep. The challenge is to stop seeing the rocky slope as a punishment and start seeing it as our particular vineyard. This reframes our entire relationship with hardship. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can learn to ask, "What is this difficulty asking me to develop? What depth is it inviting?" Consider the story of Alara, a software engineer in Dublin. She was part of a major project that failed spectacularly after 2 years of work. The company lost money. Her team was dissolved. It was a professional and emotional disaster. The easy narrative was one of shame and failure. For months, she replayed mistakes, hunted for scapegoats, and felt her confidence shatter. Then, during a long walk, a different question arose. What did building that doomed thing teach me that building a successful thing never would have? The answers came: deep technical patience, how to navigate team conflict without blame, the humility of true uncertainty. She realized the failed project had forged in her a level of skill and wisdom that no straightforward success could have. When she interviewed for her next role, she didn't hide the failure, she spoke about these hard-won lessons with authenticity. She got the job, not despite the failure, but because of the grounded, capable leader the difficulty had shaped her into. She had stopped fighting the fact of the failure and started mining it for its gifts. This is a profound shift, from seeing difficulty as a wall blocking your path, to seeing it as the path itself. The wall becomes the climbing gym where you develop the muscles you'll need for the journey ahead. But this requires a specific kind of courage. The courage to be with discomfort without an immediate escape plan. Our modern world is a monument to the avoidance of discomfort. We have pills for sadness, streaming for boredom, shopping for emptiness, outrage for powerlessness. We have lost the art of sitting in the fire of a difficult feeling until it reveals its purpose. A powerful practice to rebuild this muscle is the welcoming prayer. When you feel a strong, uncomfortable emotion, anxiety, grief, jealousy, instead of reaching for your phone or a snack or a complaint, pause. Sit with it. Place a hand on your heart. Silently say to the feeling, welcome. You are allowed to be here. What do you need to show me? Don't analyze it. Just create a welcoming space for the sensation in your body. Almost always, when met with this kind of fearless, compassionate acceptance, the emotion will shift. It will move, soften, or reveal a hidden message, a need, a boundary, a forgotten truth. You are not repressing the difficulty, you are alchemizing it by meeting it with conscious presence. Let's see this principle applied to a universal difficulty, physical pain. In a chronic pain clinic in Minneapolis, a therapist named David works with patients using mindfulness-based pain management. He doesn't promise to eliminate pain. He teaches a different relationship to it. One patient, Miriam, suffered from debilitating back pain. Her life had become a tight circle of avoidance and fear. David taught her to, in a safe moment, bring her attention directly to the site of the pain with curiosity, not fear. To map its edges, its temperature, its texture. To breathe into it. This was terrifying at first. But as she practiced, something changed. The pain sensation didn't vanish, but the suffering, the fear, the tension, the story of my ruined life, began to recede. She discovered that by turning toward the pain with openness, she was no longer at war with her own body. She reclaimed the territory around the pain. She could have a sensation of pain in her back and feel the comfort of her favorite chair, and hear the beautiful music playing, and taste her tea. The pain was no longer the dictator of her experience, it was one element in a broader field of awareness. This is the power of acceptance. It doesn't remove the thorn, but it stops you from pressing your whole body weight against it. Now, let's expand this to relational difficulties, the rocky slopes where we often feel most bruised and betrayed. In a long-standing friendship between two men in Mumbai, a deep rift occurred over a business misunderstanding. Arjun felt betrayed by Rohan's actions. For a year, they didn't speak. The story each told themselves was one of righteousness and victimhood. The difficulty felt like a permanent wall. Then, Arjun's father died. At the funeral, Rohan appeared, silent, simply present. No words of apology or explanation. just a hand on Arjun's shoulder. In that moment, Arjun felt the wall not as a solid thing, but as a story he was holding. The difficulty of the rift and the difficulty of the grief existed in the same space. He saw Rohan not as a villain in a story, but as a fellow human, standing with him in a hard moment. The following week, they met for chai. They didn't rehash the business dispute. They started from the new, difficult ground of the present, a friendship that had been through a fire. The old friendship was gone. But from the ashes of that difficulty, a new, more honest and resilient friendship began to grow. They had allowed the difficulty to burn away what was fragile, leaving space for something stronger to take root. This illustrates a crucial point. Sometimes, difficulty doesn't make something stronger, it reveals what was never strong to begin with, so that something authentic can be built in its place. The cracked foundation must be seen before a durable house can be erected. Finally, let's contemplate the ultimate difficulty, the fact of our own mortality. Our culture is deeply death-phobic. We hide it, sanitize it, speak of it in whispers. Yet, the conscious acceptance of our finitude is perhaps the most powerful catalyst for peace. When we hide from death, we live in a low-grade anxiety, trying to build permanent castles on sand. When we honestly acknowledge that our time is limited and profoundly uncertain, it forces a beautiful clarity. A palliative care nurse in San Francisco, named Grace, observed this for decades. She noticed that patients who had truly accepted their prognosis often entered a state of remarkable peace, even amid physical suffering. They weren't happy about dying, but they had stopped fighting the unfightable. This acceptance freed up an enormous amount of energy that had been spent on denial, bargaining, and rage. That energy then became available for what mattered: heartfelt conversations, simple appreciations, love. One patient told her, "It's funny. Now that I've stopped trying to live forever, I finally know how to live today." The difficulty of dying taught them how to live. You don't need a terminal diagnosis to practice this. The memento mori practice, remembering you will die, is an ancient tool for awakening. It's not morbid, it is clarifying. Each morning, you can take a moment to remember, my life is precious and finite. This day is a gift I will not receive again. This simple remembrance instantly sharpens your priorities. It makes pettiness fall away. It heightens beauty. It gives you the courage to speak love, to drop grudges, to choose the meaningful over the merely urgent. Accepting the ultimate difficulty of impermanence is the key to living a life of purpose and presence. So, how do we integrate this new relationship with difficulty into daily life? First, redefine a good day. A good day is not a day without difficulty. A good day is a day where you met the difficulties that arose with presence, courage, and a degree of grace. Measure your days not by the absence of storms, but by the quality of your sailing. Second, seek necessary difficulties. Deliberately choose to engage in challenging but meaningful tasks, learning a hard skill, having a courageous conversation, starting a physical practice. Go toward a little fire to learn how to be with heat. This builds your resilience muscle voluntarily, so you're stronger when involuntary difficulties strike. Third, practice gratitude for the difficulty. This is advanced, but powerful. When faced with a challenge, quietly ask, what could the hidden gift of this be? Not in a Pollyanna-ish way, but with genuine curiosity. The gift might be patience, humility, strength, clarity, or the simple lesson of what you truly value. Finding one small grain of gratitude within the hardship changes your entire orientation from victim to participant. Fourth, when you are in the midst of struggle, find the third thing. When you and a difficulty are locked in a seeming duel, you versus the pain, you versus the problem, shift your attention to a third thing outside the conflict. Look at the sky. Listen to music. Pet an animal. This breaks the hypnotic, adversarial stare-down with the problem and gives your nervous system a respite, allowing new perspectives to emerge. Remember, a river carves canyons not through its gentle flow, but through its persistent encounter with rock. You are that river. The difficulties are not blocking your path, they are defining your path, giving it depth, character, and direction. Your peace comes not from a life without rocks, but from learning to flow with a power that can eventually shape stone. We've examined our relationship with external events, with our own thoughts, and with difficulty. Now, let's turn to the very source from which our reactions spring, the body. The body is not merely a vehicle for the brain. It is a living, breathing record of our entire history. It holds our tensions, our joys, our unprocessed grief, and our deepest wisdom. Most of our reactive suffering is not a thought that happens in the mind, but a sensation that first screams through the nervous system. Learning the language of the body, and learning to soothe its alarms, is fundamental to finding peace. Think of your nervous system as an ancient, sophisticated security system. It's designed for survival, not for happiness. When it perceives a threat, which can be anything from a saber-toothed tiger to a harsh email, it triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response, adrenaline, tightened muscles, rapid heart rate, tunnel vision. This is brilliant for escaping physical danger. The problem is, our modern threats are often psychological, chronic, and unescapable. The email can't be outrun. The worry can't be fought with fists. So the alarm keeps ringing, with no off switch, flooding our system with stress hormones. We live in a state of low-grade, persistent emergency. This is the physiological basis of anxiety, irritation, and that constant feeling of being on edge. Peace, then, is not just a mental state, it is a physiological state. It is the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. It's the state of the body when it feels safe. The path to peace is, in large part, the path of teaching your nervous system that in this moment, right now, you are not in mortal danger. In a trauma therapy center in Amsterdam, a therapist named Lena works with clients using somatic experiencing. She doesn't begin by talking about the past. She begins by helping clients notice sensations in their bodies in the present. One client, Marco, was plagued by panic attacks. Talking about their cause only made them worse. Lena had him simply notice his feet on the floor. To feel the texture of his socks, the pressure of the ground. Then to notice his breath, not to change it, just to feel it. Then to look around the room and name 3 neutral objects he saw. This simple, sensory grounding took him out of the catastrophic story in his head and brought him into the safety of the present environment. His panic would subside. Lena was helping him manually switch his nervous system from danger to safety by focusing on non-threatening sensory input. The body, not the mind, was the gateway. You can practice this anytime. It's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, grounding. When you feel anxiety or anger rising, name 5 things you can see. The lamp, the blue book, a crack in the wall, a plant, your hand. Name 4 things you can feel. The fabric of your shirt, the chair against your back, the air on your skin, your feet in your shoes. Name 3 things you can hear. The hum of the fridge, distant traffic, your own breath. Name 2 things you can smell. Coffee, laundry detergent, the faint scent of your own skin. Name 1 thing you can taste. The aftertaste of tea, or just the neutral taste in your mouth. This isn't a distraction. It's a direct intervention with the nervous system, pulling it out of its abstract, threatening story and into the concrete, non-threatening reality of the present moment. It says to the body, look. Here. Feel. You are here. You are safe. Our bodies also hold our past in the form of tension. Armoring we develop to cope. The clenched jaw from years of swallowing words. The tight shoulders from carrying invisible burdens. The sunken chest from a need to be small and unseen. This chronic tension is a form of resistance, a frozen, physical no to past experiences that the body never fully processed. Peace requires a gentle thawing. A yoga teacher in Bali, named Wayan, teaches a class called In and Release. He emphasizes that the goal is not to achieve a perfect pose, but to find an edge of sensation and then breathe into the places of tightness, sending a message of kindness to the body. The body remembers everything, he says. When you feel a tightness in your hip, you are not just stretching a muscle. You are visiting a memory held in the tissue. Breathe into it like you would breathe into a frightened child. Say, I am here now. It is safe to relax. Students often report emotions surfacing and releasing during these holds, tears, memories, sudden insights. They are not just stretching, they are conversing with their own history, held in the flesh, and offering it the safety it has long awaited. You can do this in micro moments. Sitting at your desk, notice, is my jaw clenched? Gently let it hang loose. Are my shoulders up by my ears? Let them slide down. Take one deep, soft breath into your belly. This is not just relaxation. It is an act of peacemaking with your own physical being. You are releasing the body's perpetual state of readiness for a battle that is already over. Now, let's consider the body's wisdom in decision-making. We often believe important decisions are made by the logical mind, weighing pros and cons. But the body often knows the truth long before the mind can articulate it. That gut feeling, that sense of expansion or contraction, of lightness or heaviness, is priceless data from your embodied intelligence. A venture capitalist in Silicon Valley, named Maya, was famous for her investment instincts. Colleagues thought she had a magical mind for numbers. In truth, her process was deeply somatic. After reviewing all the data on a startup, she would sit quietly, close her eyes, and imagine saying yes to the investment. She would notice the sensations in her body. Did she feel open, expansive, energized? Or did she feel a subtle tightening, a sinking feeling, a sense of dread? She called this listening to the somatic yes or no. The data gave her the map, but her body gave her the compass. It registered risks and opportunities that were not yet visible on a spreadsheet, the unspoken dynamics of a team, the authenticity of a founder, the alignment with a deeper purpose. By honoring this bodily wisdom, she avoided several high-profile disasters that looked perfect on paper. Her peace with high-stakes decisions came from this integration of head and gut. You can practice this. Before making a decision, large or small, pause. Close your eyes. Imagine taking option A. Notice the sensations in your body, your chest, your gut, your throat. Do you feel open or closed? Light or heavy? Then imagine option B. Compare the felt sense. This doesn't mean you always follow the good feeling. Sometimes the right choice is difficult and feels heavy. But it provides crucial information. A choice that feels like a true yes in the body, even if challenging, will have a quality of integrity and alignment. A choice that feels like a no will feel dissonant, like forcing a puzzle piece that doesn't fit. Finally, the body is our primary instrument for experiencing joy and connection. Yet, we often abandon it in pursuit of mental or digital stimulation. Real peace is felt in the body, the warmth of sun on skin, the cathartic release of laughter that shakes the belly, the comfort of an embrace, the deep satisfaction of physical exertion. To neglect the body is to cut ourselves off from a fundamental source of aliveness and calm. In a community dance hall in New Orleans, they hold a weekly, ecstatic dance session. There's no talking, no alcohol, just music and movement. People of all ages and abilities move however they wish, wild, slow, graceful, awkward. The rule is to follow the body's impulse, not the mind's judgment. A retired accountant named Robert goes every week. For an hour, he says, I don't have a story. I'm not a grandfather, a widower, a former anything. I'm just this collection of muscles and bones and breath, moving to a beat. All my worries are up in my head. But my feet are on the ground. My heart is pounding from dancing, not from anxiety. I leave feeling poured out and refilled at the same time. My mind is quiet because my body has spoken. He has discovered that by giving the body its voice through movement, he silences the mind's anxious chatter. The body's exhaustion becomes a peaceful tiredness, its expression becomes a release valve for pent-up mental energy. You don't need a dance hall. Simply taking a walk without headphones can be a profound body-based practice. Feel the rhythm of your steps. Notice the swing of your arms. Feel the air temperature change. See the world passing by. This simple act brings you out of the abstract world of thought and into the rhythmic, sensory world of the body. It is a walking meditation that naturally settles the nervous system. In essence, the body is not a problem to be managed, but a partner to be listened to, a sanctuary to be inhabited. Your peace depends on this partnership. When the mind is spinning with worry, the body can be your anchor. When the emotions are stormy, the steady breath can be your lifeline. When you are lost in thought, the feeling of your feet on the earth can bring you home. We have navigated the landscapes of mind, body, and circumstance. Now, let's explore the element that breathes life into all these practices and makes them sustainable: compassion. Specifically, self-compassion. This is the keystone. Without it, acceptance becomes cold resignation, patience becomes grim endurance, and mindfulness becomes just another way to judge yourself for not being mindful enough. True, unshakable peace is rooted in a fundamental, gentle friendship with yourself. We are often our own worst enemy. We speak to ourselves with a cruelty we would never direct at a stranger. A mistake triggers an internal monologue of condemnation: "You idiot. You always do this. You'll never get it right." We hold ourselves to impossible standards and then whip ourselves for failing to meet them. This inner war is exhausting, and it is the very antithesis of peace. Peace is impossible in a battlefield, and when your own mind is the field, you are both the soldier and the enemy. Imagine you are caring for a young child who is learning to walk. The child stumbles and falls. What is your response? You don't shout, "You clumsy failure. What's wrong with you?" You likely offer a hand, a gentle word: "It's okay. You fell. Let's try again." You understand that stumbling is part of the process. Now, imagine that child is you, learning to navigate the complexities of being human, managing emotions, handling relationships, pursuing goals. When you stumble, which voice do you use? The cruel critic or the compassionate caregiver? In Seoul, a cognitive behavioral therapist named Dr. Ji Min noticed a distinct pattern among her high-achieving clients. Their anxiety and depression were often fueled less by external pressures and more by a brutal, internal critic, a voice she came to call the drill sergeant. To counter this, Dr. Ji Min began teaching a simple, powerful practice she called self-compassion breaks. Here is how it works. Whenever a client noticed the drill sergeant beginning its harsh beratement, they were instructed to pause. They were to place a hand gently over their heart. A physical gesture known to release oxytocin, the bonding and calming hormone. Then, they were to say 3 things silently to themselves. First, this is a moment of suffering. This is the step of mindfulness, of acknowledging the pain honestly but without exaggeration. Second, suffering is part of being human. This step affirms our common humanity, recognizing that you are not flawed or alone in this experience. It is a shared aspect of the human condition. Third and finally, may I be kind to myself in this moment. This is the active step of self-kindness, a conscious offering of care and understanding to the part of you that is struggling. One client, a concert pianist named Sue Jean, was paralyzed by performance anxiety. The drill sergeant would scream during practice, "That note was awful. You're an embarrassment." During a rehearsal, after a flubbed passage, she tried the break. She stopped, hand on heart. This is a moment of suffering. Every musician knows this fear. May I be kind to myself? The critic's voice didn't vanish, but it was suddenly surrounded by a vast, quiet space of understanding. Her shoulders dropped. She took a breath and played the passage again, not perfectly, but with less tension. The kindness didn't lower her standards, it removed the paralyzing fear that was preventing her from meeting them. She was able to work with her mistake, not against it. This is the power of self-compassion. It creates psychological safety, which is the prerequisite for growth. A plant cannot grow if you stand over it yelling at it to grow faster. It needs water, sun, and a safe place to put down roots. Your psyche is the same. Berating yourself for being anxious doesn't cure anxiety, it creates more anxiety about having anxiety. Meeting your anxiety with a kind, curious, "I see you're struggling," changes the entire ecosystem. But self-compassion is often misunderstood. It is not self-pity, which says, "Poor me, my life is so much harder than everyone else's." It is the opposite. It recognizes, this hurts, and many people hurt in similar ways. How can I comfort myself as I would a friend? It is not self-indulgence, letting yourself off the hook for harmful behavior. True self-compassion includes taking responsibility, but from a place of wanting to heal and do better, not from a place of self-flagellation. You can say, "I really messed up. That's not who I want to be. This guilt is painful. Let me make amends and learn," without adding, "and therefore I am a terrible person." Let's see how this applies to one of the most common sources of self-attack, comparison. In the visually curated world of social media, a graphic designer named Chloe in Melbourne found herself in a constant state of insufficiency. Her feed was a highlight reel of other designers' awards, exotic travels, and seemingly perfect lives. Her inner critic had a field day, her portfolio is better. His client list is more impressive. They're traveling while you're just grinding. It was a slow poison. Her work began to feel derivative, joyless. During a digital detox retreat, the facilitator gave an exercise: write a letter to yourself from the perspective of your most compassionate friend, seeing you through their eyes. Chloe wrote, "Dear Chloe, I see how hard you work. I love the quirky, thoughtful details you put into your projects that no one else would think of. I see the resilience it took to build your business from nothing. I see the kindness you show your clients when they're stressed. You are enough, exactly as you are, today." Reading it back, she wept. She had been comparing her behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and berating herself for the difference. The compassion practice didn't make her complacent. It grounded her in her own unique value. She returned to work reconnected to her own style and voice, and her work, and her peace, flourished. Self-compassion also radically changes our relationship with failure. Failure, met with self-criticism, becomes a defining label: I am a failure. Met with self-compassion, it becomes a painful event: I failed at this specific thing. It hurts. What can I learn? The former crushes the spirit. The latter, though painful, leaves the spirit intact and ready to try again. A startup founder in Berlin, named Finn, experienced this after his second company collapsed. The first failure had nearly destroyed him. He'd wrapped his entire identity in being a successful founder. The shame was debilitating. Before launching his second venture, he worked with a coach on self-compassion. When the second company also failed, the pain was acute. But this time, he practiced. He allowed himself to feel the grief and disappointment without the added layer of self-hatred. He thought, many entrepreneurs go through this. It's part of the territory. May I be gentle with myself. From that place, he was able to conduct a clear-eyed autopsy of the business without blame, extracting invaluable lessons. He was also able to be fully present with his team, offering genuine apologies and support, rather than hiding in shame. His ability to handle the failure with grace actually strengthened his reputation. More importantly, it allowed him to heal and, in time, begin again with wisdom instead of scars. Now, how do we cultivate this essential quality? It is a skill, like playing an instrument. It requires practice. First, notice the critic's voice. Just become aware of its tone, its words. Don't try to argue with it yet. Simply recognize, there is the critic. Naming it separates you from it. Second, ask, what would I say to a dear friend in this exact situation? We are almost always wiser and kinder to our friends than to ourselves. Bridge that gap. Speak those kinder words inwardly, or even write them down. Third, practice a compassionate body scan. Lie down comfortably. Bring your attention to each part of your body slowly, from feet to head. As you focus on each area, instead of assessing it, send it a message of thanks and kindness. Thank you, feet, for carrying me. May you be at ease. Thank you, stomach, for digesting my food. May you be peaceful. This builds a somatic sense of friendship with your own physical being. Fourth, create a self-compassion mantra. A simple phrase you can return to in difficult moments. Something like, I am doing my best with what I have right now, or, this is hard, and I am allowed to be gentle with myself, or even just, it's okay. It's okay. Ultimately, self-compassion is the foundation because it addresses the root of most suffering, the feeling of being separate and unworthy. When you offer yourself compassion, you are reuniting with yourself. You are ending the civil war. From that place of internal ceasefire, you can meet the world not from a deficit, desperately seeking validation, but from a wholeness, capable of offering genuine kindness to others. A teacher at Monk's Temple once put it this way: you cannot draw water from an empty well to give to others. And you cannot fill your own well with a bucket full of holes. Self-compassion is the work of repairing the bucket. It is not selfish. It is the most generous thing you can do for a world that needs you to be whole. As you move forward, let your inner guide shift from the critic to the compassionate friend. Let your measure of a day be not how perfectly you performed, but how kindly you met yourself in the moments of imperfection. In that kindness, you will discover a peace that does not depend on everything going right, because it resides in the unwavering friendship you have with yourself, no matter what goes wrong. We have gathered the tools: acceptance, patience, presence, and self-compassion. Now, let's explore the framework that allows them to cohere into a way of life: intention. Intention is the rudder on the ship of our awareness. Without it, we are adrift, tossed by every wave of emotion, every wind of circumstance. With a clear intention, we can navigate the storm, not by controlling the sea, but by holding a steady course. Our core intention, the one that leads to unshakable peace, is surprisingly simple: to meet each moment with openness and kindness, regardless of its content. This is different from a goal. A goal is future-oriented: I want to achieve enlightenment. I want to be calm by 3 p.m. I want to never get angry again. Goals are brittle, they set us up for success or failure. Intention is present moment oriented: right now, I intend to be aware. Right now, I intend to be gentle with myself. Right now, I intend to listen deeply. Intentions are flexible, they can be renewed in every instant, no matter what happened the moment before. Think of it as the difference between trying to paint a perfect landscape, a goal, and committing to holding the brush with attentiveness and care, letting the landscape emerge as it will, an intention. The first creates anxiety about the outcome. The second creates peace within the process. In a traditional dojo in Kyoto, a master teaches archery, kyudo. But the target is almost irrelevant. The teaching is about shin, heart, ki, energy, and tai, body, becoming one in the moment of release. A student, hero, would strain, his mind fixated on the bullseye. His shots were erratic, his frustration high. The master would say, "You are aiming at the target. You must become one with the shot. Your intention is not to hit. Your intention is to be completely, harmoniously yourself as the arrow flies." Hero practiced letting go of the goal. He focused on the feel of the bow, the alignment of his posture, the calm expanse of his breath. He set the intention, to be whole in this action. When he released the arrow with that intention, it often found the center, not because he aimed better, but because his being was no longer divided by desire and fear. His peace was in the integrity of the shot, not in the result. Your daily life is your dojo. Your intention is your stance. What is your fundamental intention as you move through your day? Is it to prove yourself? To avoid pain? To accumulate achievements? Or is it to be present, to be kind, to be authentic? The former intentions will lead to suffering because they make your well-being contingent on external validation or specific outcomes. The latter intention is your internal compass, always pointing you home to peace, no matter the external weather. This shifts our entire orientation from doing to being. We are human beings, not human doings. Yet we spend our lives in frantic doing, hoping it will lead to a state of peaceful being. It's backwards. We must start with the intention to be aware, to be open, to be kind, and let our doing flow from that place. Let's see this in a high-pressure environment where doing is everything. In a neonatal intensive care unit, NICU. In Toronto, a nurse named Claire faces life and death stakes daily. The goals are critical: stabilize the infant, administer precise medication, monitor vitals. Early in her career, she attached her sense of worth to these outcomes. When a baby didn't thrive, she carried the guilt home. It shattered her. Over time, she learned to shift her primary intention. Before her shift, she sets it: my intention is to offer skilled hands and a wholly present heart. This doesn't change her medical focus, but it changes her center of gravity. During a crisis, she is still intensely focused on doing the right medical things, but she is being a presence of calm care. This intention anchors her. When outcomes are poor, she grieves, but she does not crumble under the added weight of personal failure, because her worth was tied to her intention of presence and care, not to an outcome she could never fully control. Her peace, and her resilience, is found in the integrity of her intention, which remains unbroken regardless of the result. You can set a daily intention each morning. It takes 10 seconds. Before you check your phone, before your feet hit the floor, ask, what is my fundamental intention for today? Keep it simple. Today, I intend to pause before I react. Today, I intend to listen more than I speak. Today, I intend to be gentle with my body. This isn't a to-do list. It's a tuning fork for your consciousness. It will resonate throughout your day, subtly guiding your choices back to your chosen center when you drift. Intention also empowers the practice of letting go. We clutch so tightly to plans, identities, possessions, and people. We believe our security lies in their permanence. But intention gives us something more stable to hold on to: our own conscious stance. If I am holding a precious vase, I am terrified of dropping it. But if I am holding the intention to walk with balance and care, I can carry the vase, or a cup, or nothing at all, with the same peaceful attention. My security is in my balance, not in the object. A family in California lost their home in a wildfire. They escaped with their lives, their dog, and the clothes they were wearing. Everything else, photos, heirlooms, the tangible history of their lives, was gone. In the aftermath, the father, David, was speaking to a reporter. The reporter asked, "What's the hardest thing you've lost?" David was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The illusion that we ever owned any of it in the first place. We were just caring for it for a while." He went on, "Our intention now is to build a home that is a sanctuary, not a museum. To fill it with love and presence, not just stuff." Their profound loss forced a clarity of intention. Their peace would no longer be invested in the permanence of structures, but in the quality of the life lived within them. Their intention became their new foundation. This leads to the ultimate intention, the intention to be free. Not free from life's difficulties, but free within them. Free from the tyranny of our own reactive patterns. Free from the belief that our happiness is held hostage by conditions. This is the intention of awakening. In a hermitage in the French Alps, an elderly monk was asked by a visitor, "After all these decades of practice, what is your intention now?" The monk smiled. "The same as it was on my first day, to see clearly. To not be fooled by the appearance of things. To be free in the midst of it all." For him, intention was not a stepping stone to something else. It was the path itself. Every moment was an opportunity to renew that intention. To see this moment clearly, without the filters of fear or desire. So, how do we live from intention? Start small. Choose one routine activity, making your coffee, brushing your teeth, starting your car, and do it with a specific intention. I intend to do this with full attention. Feel the sensations. Be completely there. This trains the muscle. Use triggers. Let certain common events remind you to check your intention. Every time your phone rings, let it be a bell of mindfulness. Before you answer, take one breath and reconnect with your intention to be present. Every time you sit down to eat, pause to set the intention to taste and be grateful. When you lose your way, renew. You will forget. You will react, grasp, and spin out. The practice is in the gentle return. No scolding. Simply notice, I have drifted from my intention. And softly reaffirm it, right now, I choose to return to presence. Right now, I choose kindness. This moment of renewal is the heart of the practice. It is not a failure, it is the essence of spiritual life, the constant, gentle returning home. Ultimately, living with intention is about becoming the author of your inner world, even as you accept that you are not the author of the outer world. You may not be able to choose what life brings to your doorstep. But you can always choose the intention with which you open the door. Carry this with you. Your peace does not depend on what is on the other side. It depends on the quality of your welcome. We've mapped the inner terrain: acceptance, patience, the body, self-compassion, intention. Now let's examine how these principles coalesce into a single, accessible practice, the art of sacred pauses. A sacred pause is not a lengthy meditation retreat. It is a momentary, intentional stop in the flow of your day, a deliberate breath between the stimulus of life and your response. In that brief space, all the teachings come alive. It is the practical application of everything we've explored. Think of your nervous system as a river. Most of the time, you are swept along by its current, the rush of tasks, the pull of reactions, the undercurrent of worry. A sacred pause is like planting a staff in the riverbed. For just a moment, you are not carried. You stand still in the midst of the flow, feeling the water rush past but remaining upright, anchored. From that point of stillness, you can see the river clearly. You can choose which direction to step next, rather than being tumbled downstream. In the bustling Grand Bazaar of Istanbul, a tea merchant named Ahmet has a ritual. No matter how hectic the bargaining, how long the line, every hour on the hour, the old brass bell above his door chimes. When it does, Ahmet stops. He closes his eyes for the duration of one slow, deep breath. He feels the warmth of the samovar, smells the cinnamon and apple tea, hears the cacophony of the market as a single, vibrant hum. Then he opens his eyes and continues. This 3-second pause is his sanctuary. It resets him. It prevents the stress of the bazaar from accumulating in his body and spirit. He is not escaping his work, he is returning to the essence of it, the tea, the connection, the moment, before the stories of too busy or not enough can take over. His sacred pause is his rudder. You don't need a brass bell. You can use any recurring event, the ding of an elevator, the red light at a familiar intersection, the act of sitting down at your desk. Let it be your signal to pause for one conscious breath. In that breath, do nothing but feel the air moving in and out. This tiny act is a radical rebellion against the tyranny of momentum. Now, let's expand the pause to handle more difficult moments. When you receive bad news, or hear a critical comment, or feel the hot surge of anger, the impulse is to react immediately, to fire off an email, to snap back, to slam a door. This is when the sacred pause becomes a lifeline. It is the space where you choose not to be a puppet of your conditioning. A police mediator in Oakland, California, named Lena, trains in de-escalation. Her most vital tool is her own pause. When faced with shouting, threats, and high emotion, her training is to first create an internal silence. She feels her feet on the ground. She takes one slow breath, consciously relaxing her own jaw and shoulders. This 2-second pause does not solve the conflict. It does something more important. It prevents her from mirroring the chaos and adding fuel to the fire. From that calm center, she can then speak slowly, listen actively, and project stability. Her pause is contagious. It often becomes the first moment of calm in the entire interaction. Her response, born from that pause, has the power to redirect energy rather than amplify it. You can use this. Before you speak intention, take a breath. Before you hit send on an emotional email, stand up and stretch. Before you make a decision from fear, go wash your hands with cold water, feeling the sensation. Interrupt the automatic neural pathway. Insert a sliver of space. In that space, ask. What is the wisest, kindest response here? The answer that comes from the pause will be different from the one that comes from the reaction. Sacred pauses also apply to positive moments, to prevent us from missing them entirely. We often experience a beautiful sunset while simultaneously thinking about dinner, or receive a compliment while already dismissing it. We need to pause to let joy land. A grandmother in rural Greece, Yaya Sophia, has a practice. Whenever something delights her, the first fig of the season, her grandson's laughter, the smell of rain on dry earth, she stops completely. She closes her eyes, puts a hand over her heart, and says softly, "Epharisto." Thank you. She receives the gift fully into her senses before her mind moves on. Her pause is an act of devotional attention. It multiplies the joy because it is fully consumed in the moment of its offering, not diluted by distraction. Practice this. When you notice something beautiful or good, stop for 3 seconds. Don't reach for your camera. Don't think a thought about it. Just drink it in with your senses. Say, "Thank you," inside. This trains the mind to savor, to receive, to inhabit the gifts of the present rather than treating them as fleeting commercials between problems. Ultimately, the sacred pause is how we wear a groove of peace into the frantic pathways of our lives. Each pause is a drop of water on stone. Individually, they seem insignificant. Over time, they carve a new channel, a channel of conscious choice, of presence, of responsive wisdom instead of reactive chaos. So, begin today. Choose one trigger for your pause. Perhaps it's every time you open a door. Before you turn the handle, stop. Breathe. Be where you are. Then open it. In that simple, repeated act, you are not just opening a door. You are opening to the possibility of a different way to live. One conscious breath, one sacred pause at a time. We have cultivated inner tools and pauses. Now, let's examine the environment in which these seeds of peace either flourish or wither, our daily habits and the architecture of our attention. Peace is not just an internal state, it is also an ecological achievement. It requires designing a life that supports it, just as a delicate plant requires the right soil, light, and water. In the modern world, we must become intentional gardeners of our own attention, because what we consistently pay attention to determines the landscape of our mind. Our attention is the most precious resource we have. It is the lens through which we experience reality. Yet, we routinely outsource it to algorithms designed to capture and monetize it, to endless streams of news curated to provoke anxiety, and to the constant, low-grade hum of digital notifications. We live in an attention economy, and if we are not the custodians of our own attention, we will be bankrupt of peace. Imagine your mind as a clear, still pond. Every notification, every frantic headline, every auto-playing video is a pebble tossed into that pond. The ripples collide, creating chaos where there was calm. The practice of peace requires, in part, guarding the shores of your pond. It means having the courage to sometimes say, "No more pebbles." In a tech writer's cabin in the woods of Washington State, a man named Leo conducts a monthly ritual he calls the scrub. For one weekend, he disconnects completely, no internet, no phone, no screens. But his practice isn't just about subtraction. It's about intentional addition. He spends those hours reading physical books, writing in a journal with a pen, walking without headphones, and simply sitting on his porch observing the patterns of birds at the feeder. He says, "I'm not avoiding the world. I'm recalibrating my instrument. The noise of the digital world tunes me to a frequency of scarcity, urgency, and comparison. The silence of the woods retunes me to a frequency of enoughness, natural rhythm, and connection. I return not with less information, but with a more functional attention span, one that can hold a thought for more than 30 seconds. His peace is actively defended by this habitual recalibration. You need not go to the woods. But you can conduct mini scrubs. Designate attention sanctuaries in your day. Perhaps the first 30 minutes after waking are screen-free. Or your mealtimes are device-free. Or your bedroom is a phone-free zone. These are not deprivations, they are declarations of sovereignty over your own mind. In these sanctuaries, your attention learns to rest on what you choose, the taste of food, the face of a loved one, the feeling of resting, rather than being hijacked. Beyond the digital, our peace is eroded by more subtle habits, the habit of rushing, the habit of multitasking, the habit of complaining. Each of these is a neural pathway, a well-worn trail in the brain. To cultivate peace, we must consciously wear new trails. A school principal in Finland, named Alina, implemented a simple rule in her school: transition minutes. After each class, instead of rushing headlong into the next subject, students and teachers take 2 minutes of quiet transition. They might look out the window, stretch, organize their desk, or just breathe. This habit was born from observing that the stress children carried was often from the relentless, frantic pace of switching tasks without a mental breath. The 2-minute habit created a buffer, a space to let the last activity settle and prepare for the next with presence. It taught children, through habit, that life can have commas and periods, not just run-on sentences. Their capacity for focused attention and emotional regulation improved. They were gardening their collective attention. You can create transition minutes in your own life. After finishing a task, before starting the next, pause for 60 seconds. Look away from the screen. Stretch. Take 3 breaths. This tiny habit prevents the residual stress of one activity from bleeding into the next, creating a cumulative tension that feels like a stressful day. Another peace-destroying habit is what we might call catastrophic preparation, the mental habit of scanning the future for problems and rehearsing solutions for disasters that may never happen. While planning is wise, this chronic vigilance is a form of self-inflicted stress. The habit of peace involves noticing when you have slipped into this mode and gently returning to the question, is there a real, actionable problem in front of me right now? If not, you practice releasing the mental rehearsal. You train the habit of trusting that you will have the resources to meet problems if they arise, rather than exhausting your resources fearing they will arise. A backcountry guide in the Canadian Rockies, named Sam, teaches this to novice hikers. When anxiety about potential dangers, bears, storms, getting lost, rises in the group, he doesn't dismiss it. He says, right now, look around. Are we safe in this moment? Is the weather clear? Is the trail visible? Let's deal with the terrain under our feet. We carry the skills for emergencies, but we don't need to live in the emergency until it's here. He is teaching the habit of situational awareness grounded in the present, not fear projected into an imagined future. Cultivate this habit. When future-tripping anxiety arises, pause. Look at your actual, physical surroundings. Name 3 things that are safe, stable, or neutral in this very moment. This habitually re-anchors you in the present reality, which is almost always more manageable than the feared future. Finally, The most foundational habit for peace is the habit of returning. This is the meta habit. You will forget your intentions. You will lose your pauses. You will get sucked into the digital vortex or the worry spiral. The habit of peace is not perfection, it is the gentle, persistent habit of beginning again. Without self-judgment. With compassion. Each moment is a new opportunity to plant your staff in the river. A Zen proverb says, you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes every day. Unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. The busier, more chaotic, more demanding your life is, the more non-negotiable your peace-supporting habits must become. They are not luxuries. They are the maintenance required for the machine of your life to function without burning out. Start small. Pick one habit. Guard one small sanctuary of attention. Create one transition minute. Wear that new neural pathway with consistency. As you do, you are not just changing your routine, you are architecting an inner environment where peace is not a distant visitor, but a permanent resident. We arrive now at the culmination, not as an end, but as a beginning. We have gathered the tools, cultivated the pauses, and tended the garden of our attention. All of this leads to a single, profound capacity. The capacity to rest in being. Not doing. Not fixing. Not becoming. But simply being. This is the essence of peace, to inhabit the fullness of your own presence, without agenda, without lack, without the constant whisper that you should be somewhere else, someone else, doing something else. Imagine you are a mountain. Storms pass over your slopes, the weather of emotions, the seasons of circumstances. Snow falls, winds howl, sun bakes, rain pours. The mountain does not chase the storm or beg for the sun. It does not collapse in the wind or melt in the rain. It stands, vast and silent, allowing all weather to pass across its surface. Your essential being is that mountain. The practices we've explored are not about changing the weather, they are about remembering your fundamental nature as the unwavering ground beneath it. This resting in being is often mistaken for passivity. It is the opposite. It is the ultimate act of courage. To cease the frantic search for validation, security, and identity in the external world, and to come home to the sufficiency of your own existence. From this place of profound rest, action arises that is clear, compassionate, and effective, not because you are trying to get somewhere, but because you are fully present to what is needed here. In a hospice in County Kerry, Ireland, there is a volunteer named Bridie who has a simple gift. She doesn't offer advice. She doesn't tell cheerful stories. She sits. When she visits the dying, she simply pulls up a chair, takes their hand if they wish, and sits in quiet companionship. Her presence is not empty, it is full of a calm acceptance, a deep listening that requires no words. Patients and families often say that after a visit from Bridie, the room feels different. The anxiety softens. The unspoken fears seem less monstrous. Bridie is not doing anything, yet she is offering everything, the permission to just be, in the terrifying or tender final chapter, without pretense or performance. She embodies the mountain. In her unwavering, peaceful presence, others find permission to rest in their own being, however fraught it may be. You can offer this to yourself. You can be your own bride. In moments of inner turmoil, instead of launching into mental problem solving or self-criticism, you can pull up a chair for your own awareness. You can sit with yourself, in silent, compassionate companionship. You can say to the part of you that is scared or angry or tired, "It's okay. I am here with you." We don't have to figure it out right now. We can just be here. This internal gesture of unconditional presence is the deepest healing. This final teaching is an invitation to let go of the seeker. You have been seeking peace, perhaps for a long time. What if peace is not a destination to be reached, but the ground upon which you are already standing? What if the seeking itself, the subtle tension of feeling you are not yet there, is the very thing that obscures it? A story is told of a seeker who traveled across deserts and mountains to find a wise teacher. Finally, he found the teacher sitting under a tree. "I have come so far," the seeker panted. "Please, show me the path to enlightenment." The teacher looked at him kindly and said, "You are already enlightened. You are just very, very busy." The seeker, frustrated, said, "That can't be. I feel confused and troubled." The teacher nodded. "The clouds are troubled. The sky is not. Your being, your aware, conscious presence, is the sky. The thoughts, emotions, and sensations are the clouds." The practices of Monk's Temple are not about creating a new sky. They are about learning to identify with the sky, not the clouds. To rest as the sky, and watch the clouds of experience form and dissolve without believing you are made of weather. So, as we conclude this journey together, I offer you not a list of things to do, but a permission slip to stop. Stop trying so hard to be at peace. Stop evaluating your spiritual progress. Stop treating this moment as a stepping stone to a better one. Instead, experiment with this. For the next few minutes, as you listen, let everything be exactly as it is. Your thoughts can be busy. Your body can have discomfort. Your environment can have noise. Don't try to change any of it. See if you can sense the one who is aware of all this, the silent, spacious awareness in which the thoughts, the discomfort, the noise are all appearing. That awareness is untouched by what it perceives. It is like a mirror, reflecting everything without being stained by the images. Rest as that awareness. This is your home. This has always been your home. The path forward is not about adding more knowledge or achieving higher states. It is about the gentle, continuous return to this knowing of your own nature as aware presence. When you forget, and you will, 100 times a day, simply remember. No drama. No self-judgment. Just a gentle turning of the attention back to the one who is aware. Let your life become an expression of this resting, not a project to achieve it. Let your actions flow from this fullness, not from a sense of lack. Let your relationships be meetings between one being and another, not between two sets of problems and demands. You are enough. You have always been enough. Not because you are perfect, but because you are alive, you are aware, and you are capable of love. That is the fundamental truth that no circumstance can ever erase. Thank you for walking this path with Monk's Temple. Carry this quiet knowing with you. Let it be the light you don't have to hold, because it is what you are made of. Go in peace. Live in peace. Be peace.